Hello BookTube. For the first tag I'm going to be doing on Tag Tuesday, I will be doing the 10 odd or weird bookish questions tag created by Sean D. Standfast, who kindly tagged me in his original video. Thank you, Sean. This is going to be fun. So question number 1. Where was the oddest place you purchased a book from, and was it a keeper? So, the weirdest place I've ever bought a book, Tape Lenders in Austin. So, Tape Lenders was a gay sex shop, porn video rental place that also had a small book area. And I bought a collection of gay erotic fantasy fiction from there. And I don't remember the title, I don't remember the author. I do remember some of the stories. There is one story where a young prince falls in love with a knight, and then the kingdom is overrun by this sort of dark lord, neighboring king, who then marries the prince and has the his new consort's lover emasculated. And then there was another one with this even more obviously dark lord figure. But I don't remember much from the of the collection. I had gotten rid of it ages ago. Where exactly, I have no idea. But that's the weirdest place I've ever bought a book. Although it's not the only time I've bought books from stores or websites that that also do sex stuff. There's a website called TLA that I bought 2 books. There were these sort of gay classics editions. I don't remember the exact title of them, but one was a bind-up of Michael Cunningham's At Home at the End of the World and Flesh and Blood, and another one of The Lord Won't Mind, and one For the Gods by Gordon Merrick. So, moving on. Number 2. Have you read a book in public that had a title which can be interpreted in a different way and got you strange looks? I don't really read in public. Usually I don't. I typically read at home. Like I said in my weekly reads last week, usually if I'm out and about, I'm usually focused more on whatever I'm doing, or like the errand, or I'm gazing at the landscape, wishing I could take pictures of it and paint it eventually when I got home. I will read, like when I went to the library and I'm waiting for the bus, I would be sitting at the foyer or the entryway where they had some chairs and I could sit and read. But normally those books were rather tame, so I've never really read anything in public with a title that could be misinterpreted. Number 3. What strange and wonderful things have you found in a used or new book? I've only ever found bookmarks, and I think I found a letter in a recent purchase, but otherwise I've never really had anything weird in any of my books. Although, that said, there was a copy of the copy I had of Paradise Lost by John Milton that I bought for a Renaissance lit class. Had quite a bit of profanity written in neon yellow marker, which was quite annoying. I'm not entirely sure what I did with that. I mean, I don't know if I trashed it or if I donated it. So, question number 4. Is smelling a book weird, or, let me rephrase. Is smelling a book weird to you or a normal part of book buying or reading? No, I don't smell my books. I mean, sometimes books do have a nice smell, but I don't necessarily make it a habit of it. It also, I mean, that would be something if you like physically go to a bookstore and have that opportunity, but the vast majority of my book buying is online, so by the time they get out of the post, there's not much of a smell left. Number 5. Do you have any odd, weird book buying, reading, collecting habits? Do I ever? So I bailed on Ducks Newburyport and Middle England. I had them in my wish list. I booted them from my wish list after I'm like, I do not like these 2 books. I don't want to buy them. And then a few months later, when I had one of my periodic general fiction, literary fiction, hungerings, I re-added them, even though I already know, I mean, I bailed on them. I know I do not like these books, but I went and re-added them anyway. And once it got to the point where my Amazon wish list was, there's way too many books. I really have got to be a lot harder on clearing that out. That I re-added them and they were there for months, and I think I just recently knocked them out again. But I mean, that's typical of me. I mean, I bail on books and then I want to have another go at them, and so I'll re-add them to wish lists or what have you. Another instance of this is a few years ago, Simon Savage of Savage Reads did a not try a chapter, although he's done those too, try a short story tag, where you would gather a group of short story collections, read the first story, and then from that those readings, decide which short story collection you want to read the whole of. And I did that, and I basically got a list of short story collections that the library I go to had. So I went and picked up about 10, read the first stories, really disliked most of them. The vast majority I really did not care for at all. And then I didn't think about it, and then like this general fiction, literary fiction, whatever you want to call it, hunger came upon me, and I'm like, I kind of want to read some short fiction. So I tracked down the blog posts. I used to blog regularly. I haven't in ages. Got the titles of those short story collections, then went to a Libris and added them all, even though I know I don't actually like any of them. The only one I really actually liked was Night at the Fiestas by Kirsten Valdez Qualde, which I have, but it's, yeah, that's one of my weird things. Another one is how many books I do have on my wish lists. I mean, I've got 500 or more on Libris, and about that many in 2 wish lists on Amazon. I really have got to do some spring cleaning on them at some point. Number 6. What is the oddest comment you have received after telling someone you are a book collector reader? My brother being continually shocked that I do like to read. My brother does not read at all, and he kind of sort of mocks me in his way that I am very much a reader. Number 7. Describe a strange encounter at a bookshop, either the bookseller or a customer. This isn't at a bookshop. So I've talked a bit about the Friends at the Library Book Sale that the Friends of the Waco McLennan County Library puts on. The first time I went, I actually volunteered a few years ago, and so I volunteered for 2 days. On the second day, I worked at the collector's corner, which is more individually priced books. These are the more collectible, the better quality books. So I was working the register there. The register there is separate from the registers for the rest of the book sale. So I was working the register, and the owner of Golden's Book Exchange was in, and she was buying up a huge amount of books, obviously to resell at Golden's. So she wheels this massive cart filled with books, and I'm having to go through and sort of tabulating how much the cost is. And I think I actually undercharged her, or did I I think I undercharged her. And then she went through and she kind of corrected it, and I was so embarrassed. And then I think the next bit I did the carts. I'm like, oh. Anyway. But yeah, that was embarrassing. Although maybe not necessarily strange. I don't think I've ever had incredibly strange. I mean, embarrassing, yes. Not necessarily strange. Excuse me. Number 8. Is it weird to pass a bookshop when you are out and not enter? Oh, yes. Now, if I'm in a car or some moving vehicle, obviously I'm not in control of said vehicle, so I will pass them. But if I'm walking, no. If I see a bookstore, I usually go in. This is definitely true of when I was in San Francisco. Because I lived on Market Street near Civic Center or UN Plaza, and going north or east towards the wharves, if I walked so far and then took a left, there was a bookstore, it was like a two-store chain bookstore. There was one in San Francisco and I think one in Berkeley that's not there anymore, that I went to somewhat frequently because I picked up Fake, Perdido Street Station, Accession. I think everything is illuminated, and I ordered 2 Foucault books. I was massive literary theory at the time. And then there was another bookstore a little further down on Market Street. And then going the other way, I think there was a used bookstore, I think before you got to the Castro, that I went in. And then there was obviously a different light on the Castro. And then there was a bookstore somewhere in town that I passed when I was going to a graduate student group that catered to English lit majors that I went, and that's where I picked up the swimming pool library, and then also the used bookstore that was actually on San Francisco State's campus, which I went to rather frequently. And then when I was in Portland for a conference, I went to, obviously I went to Powell's like twice. And then I was walking around Portland near the hotel, and there was a little bookstore, and I went in there and I picked up Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, and I don't have that anymore. Anyway, so yeah, if I see a bookstore and I'm walking, or if I'm in control of, I'm going to go check it out. Number 9. Are you drawn to weird or odd little dingy, out-of-the-way bookshops, or do you prefer tidy shops? If it's a store catering to new books, I tend to prefer it to be a bit tidy. Oh, and if it's a used bookstore, a little bit of dinginess, a little bit of clutter is okay. I mean, generally speaking, I mean, you can still be tidy and cluttered. And I do like a rather cluttered bookstore. But I mean, a little ding's pretty cool. I mean, cluttering, yeah, I like it. Number 10. Books can come in odd shapes and sizes. What is the oddest shaped book you have come across? I want to say it's just like a regular oversized book. Although I'm pretty sure I've had some books that have had odder shapes, primarily, I mean, targeted for like kids. But I can't remember them off of the top of my head. So anyway. So that was the 10 odd, weird, bookish questions tag. If you would like to do this tag, consider yourselves tagged. But I would like to specifically tag the Bookish Bryants, Brian of Bookish, and anyone else who would like to do this tag. And also, if you do have a book channel or a booktube channel and you would like me to tag you, please leave a comment down below so I can hopefully try to remember to tag you in videos. Because there are times when I like to do the blanket, I tag everyone, but at the same time, it might be a bit nice to, I mean, if you would like me to specifically tag you, please let me know down below. Anyway, BookTube, I will be signing off and doing another tag here in a few minutes. So I'll have 2 videos up today. And until then, thank you, have a great afternoon, and please stay safe. And if you are American, if you are registered to vote, please vote. Thank you.